Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back once again. I don't normally do these. I'm starting to pick back up on them, so I just wanted to do this quick live stream. I hope it's going to be quick because it's probably a bunch of different information I wanted to cover in this topic. It was originally going to be towards women only, but I figured I'd include men as well. I've been meaning to talk about this for some time, in specifics or, in detail, so to speak. But in no way, shape, or form is this any type of, not that anybody would hear anyway, is this any type of legal advice or anything like that. But it's just based upon my experience and other people that I've encountered, their experience and things like that. Typically, things like this are you normally hear in family court about men obviously getting the short end of the stick, so to speak, and women usually coming out on top always, which is a lot of times it is true because family court is geared towards the mother, the woman, in custody cases, divorces, things like that. But because of that, many women, a lot of you women who are watching, you tend to overestimate yourself because you feel that you've already won, and there's nothing you really need to do except show up to court. Some of you believe, and this is stuff that I've heard firsthand from women, and they find out the hard way when they end up losing their children, because they're so arrogant or pretentious to believe that you are going to come out on top regardless, and that the judge, the family court judge, who is the most powerful judge in the judicial system, bar none, has unlimited authority. They can do whatever they want. So a lot of times, many women will walk in there believing that they have it in the bag, and they're going to get custody the way they see fit. They're going to get child support the way they see fit, and that's not always the case. Many women have lost, and a lot of you who are watching this video probably know, many women have lost their children just like that for thinking that things are a certain way because they haven't educated themselves. And a lot of times they listen to other women talking in their ear who haven't even been through the court system, family court, don't have kids, or may be in a completely different situation where the father was basically like, I don't give a damn about this kid, I'm not gonna go to court, something like that. Situation is not always the same. You go in there sometimes lack, especially without an attorney, and the other parent or the father has an attorney, and you think this is for the fathers who are smart, or for the men who are smart, to have all your ducks in a row, have all the proper records, phone calls, text messages, incriminating evidence. This is for those who really care or who are intelligent to do that. These are things that you definitely want to do. And it's not about getting the other parent in trouble, but it's about basically building your case. Anything with this, in this situation, is about building your case, strengthening your case, because it's not, at the end of the day, this thing, family court, is just, it's war, for lack of better terms. That's what it is. It's war, and it's not just as, the thing is, a lot of people tend to think that, okay, they would never do this to me, he or she, they would never do this to me, they would never, even if you think that you're on, good terms, things can completely change, and you can be blindsided in there and looking crazy because you think you know the law, or your friend knows the law. And it's always the peanut gallery, not the peanut gallery, but it's always that little special group of friends who try to hype you up and try to give you horrible advice on basically what you should be doing. When you should be seeking, you should, educate yourself, obviously, but seeking legal counsel. And a lot of times you may be blindsided and you'll get served, and the person who's getting served is usually at a disadvantage a lot of times. When the plaintiff files the paperwork, especially a lot of times for that temporary hearing, you only have a few weeks to get your stuff together for this. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Once you get served, a lot of times with paperwork to appear before a court, you only have 2 weeks, depending on what state you're in. You know, like I said, I'm not an attorney, not giving you legal advice, but this is just from experience. You only have a couple weeks to get your stuff together. So if you don't have your stuff together, and you have to keep in mind the plaintiff, because you're the defendant at this point, or respondent, whatever you want to call it. You're responding to someone who probably has been plotting, which is a horrible word to use, for probably months, and they're way ahead of the game while you're sitting back just fucking off, you know, thinking everything is good, and just walking in, how they say, willy-nilly. I'm good, I don't need to worry about anything. And then the next thing you know, the judge is telling you you have every other weekend, or you have supervised visitation or something, which is, you have to be really jacked up to get supervised visitation or whatever, as you being the parent. But the judge is telling you something like that for your own child, that you're looking at, you know, every other weekend, and you're paying child support. And yes, women do pay child support. For those of you who think I'm not gonna pay child support, you think you know everything, and that's the problem with, I won't say so much, you know, men, but a lot of women think they know everything, especially with someone in your ear. And you always, it happens every day. There's so many women out here who don't have their kids. They may have a vindictive father, or maybe they just have a father who's trying to look out for the best interest of the child. You know, maybe a lot of times you shoot yourself in the foot by not letting the father see the child, even if he isn't paying child support. You know, you're like, well, he's not paying child support, so I'm not gonna let him see his kid. You're hurting yourself, because a lot of times a judge will look at that and say, well, if I do grant this woman custody, she's still gonna for whatever reason, she's still gonna have a problem letting him see the child, or have an issue seeing the child. So why would a judge want to give you custody for something like that, if you're already, prior to that, not allowing the father to see the child? You know. And a lot of men, a lot of you guys out there, you think that automatically because you're a man that you have no chance. You know, you have no chance, so you just play around with it. Same thing with child support. You think that you have no chance. And the biggest thing you need to be concerning yourself with is, especially if you're planning on making a baby, you need to be able to take care of it. And that means you having your own place to stay, you having a job, and you being able to provide for this child, especially if you're going into court. You know, obviously you're going to get nailed down, because a lot of times, not 9 out of 10 times, but unless you're dependent on this woman, she's probably in the same or worse situation than what you're in financially. A lot of times. So it's like, why wouldn't you want to fight for your child, or why wouldn't you want to at least get joint custody of your child, unless you just want it to be that way and just want to sit back and complain about child support and how you're getting, you know, nailed and all these things like that. So, and that's just due to you believing, or not even trying to educate yourself on the system, or being threatened, or these stories that you hear from other men. But there's nothing greater in this process than educating yourself, picking up whatever family court guidelines for your state, looking up the family court guidelines for the state, whatever state it is that you live in, and just making yourself aware of these things. We spend so much time learning things that are of no benefit, like sports, statistics, and things like that really don't benefit you, but you won't spend an afternoon or a week educating yourself on family law, or where to look at, you know, or just perusing, as they say, through these things to at least get an idea, especially if you can't afford an attorney, which many of you probably can't, but it's always best to seek the advice of an attorney, because it can happen at any time. It's a painful situation to go through. You never know, especially if that other parent is just unstable at the end of the day. You want to be prepared. You don't want to go into any of this blind. You don't want to go into any of this thinking you know everything. You just don't want to take the chance. There's women that I know who have lost their children for that reason. You know, I'm being, you know, me personally being involved in a situation. It's when you overestimate certain things, it's just going to happen. When you take bad advice, and you should know I mean, a lot of times I don't see how people can't detect certain things as far as bad advice, especially for someone that you know hasn't even been through the situation, hasn't even been through the family court for that matter, and they want to take advice from these people, you know. So I just encourage you, if you can, seek some legal advice. Don't think just because you're a woman that you got it in the bag, you know, because once you lose them, it's so hard. Because I mean, custody is fluid at the end of the day when it comes to court. Custody is fluid. It's awarded to one person up until you can, you know, get your money up to file your own action for the judge to see what, you know, based upon, but it has to be a significant change in circumstances to prove to the judge why you should have custody. But like I said, it's the same thing with whoever files first and you responding, as opposed to once that person gets custody. Like I said, it has to be a serious change in circumstances for you to actually shift that whole situation or turn that whole situation around. That's just the way it is. So just take it seriously. Don't play with the courts. Don't play with the judge. This is just the nature. If you haven't been through it, or if you're going through it right now, I implore you, and I can't say that enough, take it seriously. I implore you, because this could be the most expensive thing ever. This can be, you can lose your child. You can lose, basically, obviously, your livelihood. You can lose a gang of money in the process. I'm talking monetarily, but legal fees, all these things like that. But sometimes it's just some things that you have to do. So I just wanted to, I know I had more to say about this, but you know, this is all I can really think of right now about the topic, because I've been meaning to do this topic for a while, and because I'm driving, you know, I don't have all my thoughts pinned down on a paper or written down like I normally do. And no one's asking any questions. I guess who's ever in here right now is just viewing and taking it all in. But and I doubt anybody would probably ask any questions anyway on here. But yeah, not that, like I said, not advice or anything. This definitely isn't advice. It's just experience. All I can say, just like anyone else, is seek legal counsel. You know. And don't think you got it in the bag, because the judge at the end of the day can do, the family court judge can do whatever the hell they want to do. I've had a judge basically go against what the law says. I've written so many letters to the office, you know, I forgot the name of it, it's been so long ago. But I mean, you snitch on a judge, not to say that you can't, but if you tell on a judge and you know, make a complaint about the judge, that's one of those delicate topics or delicate things that you have to be very wary of, because it's a very small group of judges depending on the courthouse that you're going to. So it's probably not going to look good. I mean, because even though I know, like, I was representing, for example, I was representing myself pro se, which was representing my, you know, by myself. I came into a hearing one day, and he told me I couldn't represent myself, which I've done several times. So I told him, no, that's not true. And he basically was like, you don't tell me what to do. And he said I couldn't represent myself. Which, even when I went to another hearing with a different judge, even the other attorney was like, yeah, we were standing in front of the judge, and they were like, he didn't let you represent yourself? And we were like, no. And she was like, I never heard of that. And the other attorney was like, I never heard of that either. But he just decided to make that decision based upon he had already talked. Don't get it twisted. A lot of these attorneys, within this whole legal system, they all talk to each other. Don't think that this stuff doesn't happen, you know, and they don't talk to each other and all this other stuff like that. It happens. So they had already talked before I even got there. The opposing attorney, he'd already most likely talked to the judge already about my situation. So the judge already had it in his mind, I'm not even going to listen to this guy, and besides, this guy doesn't have an attorney with him. So like I say that to say they can do whatever the hell they want to do. You know, I don't know what you're, Amen Osiris, I don't know what you're talking about. They can do whatever the hell they want to do. They're all powerful. They can set things as they see fit, even if it's against the moving party, whatever you want to call it, even if it's against their wishes. If you piss them off, that's why they say try not to piss the judge off, which is so ridiculous. You know, judges are human beings, but at the end of the day, you let your emotions get involved with things. I mean, it's crazy on these decisions. So you say the wrong thing, or if a judge may not like you for whatever reason, or doesn't like whatever it's about, whatever the case is about, or doesn't like you for whatever kind of reason, that's just what's going to happen. And they can make a decision and not even really be challenged. Office of Disciplinary Council, that's what I was talking about. I've written so many letters in the past due to lawyers doing whatever the hell they want to do. Judges can do whatever the hell they want to do, and you write the bar, which is basically the bar association, you know, and you can tell on them, so to speak. But like I said, they're attorneys too, so it's like they're comrades. So it's like, even if they are doing illegal stuff, you know, that's unbecoming of a public servant, or, you know, they still are gonna. I've had so much stuff that I've written these guys about, and they just like, it's unfounded. We don't see any wrongdoing. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like, attorney can, like, no shit, not show up to court. Like, the opposing attorney can, like, not even show up to court, and you still have to pay your attorney, even though the other attorney doesn't show up, and nothing happens to the other attorney. To my knowledge, that's happened a few times. So it's like, you just, this thing right here, I mean, if you can avoid it, you know, but if you got the money, I feel sorry for you, any of you guys who are going through family court. Not sorry, but prepare yourself, prepare for some tomfoolery. Divorce court, I mean, it's family court. Divorce court is family court, but what I'm saying, any of this stuff, divorce, child custody, any of these battles, this is war at the end of the day. It's not a fun process, and the other attorney, the other party, can pretty much do as they please, as well as if your spouse, the other parent, they can basically just willy-nilly do the same thing as well. Just show up to court and just disagree with stuff. I'm not from the States, but what's the incentive of having a kid in the U.S. or even getting married in the U.S.? The only incentive is if the person dies or passes away, or if you get divorced you get half. Well, not half. Let's just say basically you're entitled to what it is, depending on what state that you're in. You're entitled to what it is, whatever it is they have. If they pass away, or if you guys get divorced, if you don't have a prenup in place, you're entitled to things. A lot of times, whatever was purchased after the marriage, stuff like that. I mean, different stuff, retirement. It's a number of different things that can be beneficial from being married to someone, you know. So, you don't know, they say you don't know anyone until you actually, girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband, you don't know them until you're actually going through a divorce or a custody battle. And they become someone completely different. So, yeah. But I think I covered everything. It's you really get to see, once you're in it and you see how they conduct themselves, the other, your significant other or whoever, boyfriend, girlfriend, other parent in this case, and you see how these litigators, you know, how the judicial system operates, you'll like it. For me, I was just like, this is crazy. Like, this is really how it's happening? If someone, once they learn, if you got like a devious person, whether that be boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife, once they learn the system and they learn how, just like any criminal or anything else, once they learn the system, they play it to their benefit. They can stretch it out as long as they can. They can make you keep coming back to court. They can get it to the point where you can, once they learn it, because they can stretch. It took me 2 years just to divorce someone because they refused to sign the papers, and they intentionally stretched it out so that I would have to spend thousands of dollars, basically to ruin my morale, to lower my morale, where I would give up. And you have devious people like this, and the courts allow it. They allow this stuff to happen. They allow people, because it's money at the end of the day. They allow people, like, you can just come to court and just say, as long as you're showing up, you're fine. As long as the other party is showing up, they're fine. But they can just come to court and not participate. Or they can hide from a process server. Because if someone's never served paperwork, that means they don't have to come to court. So they can stretch this thing out. It's like, once they learn how to do it, or hey, I can do this and I don't have to show up to court, or I can do this, I can not pay child support and I can ride it out, and I can come to court when I absolutely have to and have a sob story, and the judge will believe me and they'll let me go, and then I can do the same thing and basically stretch it out. They learn how to get around things based upon the court. Instead of just, and it seemed like it's too much ducking and dodging instead of just communicating and handling your responsibility. Now, I know it's a lot of hoes that's watching this video right now, which is perfectly fine with me. You know, you know, they know who I'm talking about. They always watch my videos anyway. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna be watching this video, so they know what the hell's going on. But you see the child in people in this process. You see the child, how people conduct themselves like children. Very much so. And how it hurts the child. They'd rather, in these situations, a lot of times, they'd rather hurt you more. They don't care about, you know, what happens with the child or how much it affects the child or collateral damage and things like that. They're the main priority in a lot of these things for these people who aren't mentally there is to hurt the other person as much as possible. If you want me to answer your questions, you can super chat and I can answer whatever questions you want, man. You can hit the super chat button, I'll answer all your questions, but I was just talking here. So yeah, that's the main thing. Is to stretch it out, punish that person all around, a vindictive person. And the fact of the matter is, they'll do this and they'll have like their backup encouraging them to do it. They'll have their friends, quote unquote, encouraging them to do it. Then when it's all said and done, and it's a thing called karma also at the end of the day, but when it's all said and done, the friends leave them high and dry and you have nothing. And that's what I like to warn a lot of you. You listen to these friends who don't know what the hell they're talking about. You end up losing whatever it is that you have, and then your friends are gone. The friends who were giving you this great advice, they're gone. So at the end of the day, if you don't have a mind of your own, and if you're unwilling to educate yourself on these things, you're going to end up losing. And that's just the way it is. Have to be a fan of intelligence. Being a fan of intelligence is not just sitting back letting someone else make decisions for your life. So you said, what's the super chat? Super chat is the $sign. It's a $sign you should see on there. You hit the $sign, you donate whatever amount you feel like is on there, and that's how that works. It has a little $sign on there for a super chat. Come on, bro. You're trying to help me? This guy said he's trying to help me. How you trying to help me? You think I made this video looking for help, my man? I don't know what country this guy is from, but you must have missed the whole video. You were watching, but you weren't paying attention. What are you talking about? Dude, I got full custody of all my kids. So, and I'm a man, and I'm in a red state. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. But you probably don't know what that means. So, but that's okay. So, yeah. So with that being said, man, yeah. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Sorry I was long-winded on this. Hopefully this helps someone out. If you got any questions, feel free to hit me up. If you want to book a personal one-on-one with me, you know, all the links are in the description right now. Paid one-on-one. Feel free to email me as well, telephonically, all that other good stuff. And check me out on Amazon. Add me on social media. Check out my books. Check out the website. All the credit business is on there as well if you guys need help with that. Y'all know the usual, man. All the links are in the description. And if you got any topics you'd like me to discuss, feel free to hit me up. And yeah. Peace be upon you and the mercy and blessings of the Almighty. And catch you guys on the next live stream or chat. I'm out of here. Peace.